Well, in 9 days, eligible South Africans will go to the polls to participate in the 6th local government elections in the country's democratic history. Today, the IEC and the United Nations Development Programme, together with political parties and other stakeholders, hosted a webinar on how best to preserve the integrity of the elections. The objective of the seminar was to explore measures to safeguard the integrity of the upcoming elections, explore how to contain the tensions that may spill into possible violence, and how best to ensure adherence to the regulations governing the state of disaster. Now, the question is, what lessons can South Africa learn from other countries during these unprecedented times? Well, joining us to unpack this further is Dr. Roselyn Akombe, Coordinator of Governance and Peacebuilding at the UNDP regional offices in Addis Ababa. Thank you so much for your time and for joining us this afternoon, Doctor.
Thank you so much, Inati, and warm greetings from Africa's capital, Addis Ababa.
Well, perhaps let's start here from the seminar that was held today. What's your assessment of South Africa's readiness to hold a free, fair and legitimate elections on November 1?
You know, thank you so much. I was quite impressed, actually, listening to the commissioners, the chair, the commissioners and other staff tell us this morning about what measures they are putting in place to ensure that they safeguard the integrity of the elections in South Africa. And having been a commissioner myself in Kenya with the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, I could understand the jittery that they must be in 9 days before elections. But you could see the sense of confidence that they have in the systems that they have put in place. But also, I think what was interesting to all of us who were listening to the commission and the staff present was really their concern and their commitment towards ensuring that the commission is seen as one that has integrity, one that is trusted, and that one that is able to deliver a free, fair, and credible election. I think for me, that struck me as really critical. So it's not that they were looking at the technical part of the elections. They are also looking at the environment under which the elections are being held, ensuring that there is citizen participation, and a very strong appeal from the Commission on the safety of their staff, especially the female staff. They told us they have quite a number of female young women who are now participating as poll workers, and an appeal really on political actors and different stakeholders to ensure their safety, their security, while they manage these very, very important elections for South Africa.
Well, Dr. Akombe, I'd like to, just speak about that safety and security issue you are raising. How can we as a country prevent violence and intimidation before and during voting, and in fact ensure the integrity of the results once they are announced? I mean, just on the violence issue, we've seen about 6 to 7 people being gunned down, whilst they were campaigning, particularly in KwaZulu-Natal.
Any loss of life is something that we regret, whether it's in an election framework or outside an election. But I think what we have seen from examples of elections that have taken place in the African continent, frankly, in the last, in this year, even in the COVID context, we'll see that we've been managing, the other parts of the African continent have been able to manage or reduce the levels of violence that we had feared. And I think there are lessons there that South Africa could pick from, could leverage. You look at Zambia and the concerns that we had around electoral violence in Zambia. And we ended up having a more peaceful election than we thought this year. You look at Niger and the elections that they had. You look at Cape Verde, you look at Sao Tome. I think there are very many examples that we have seen of countries whereby there were concerns about election violence, but there were measures that were taken to try and address some of these concerns. And it's not only the role of the Independent Election Commission, it's not only the IEC's role to ensure that elections are safe, are secure. It's the responsibility of citizens, it's the responsibility of political parties and political actors to make sure that the environment in which they are doing the campaigns or they're having their candidates participate in elections allow for those elections to be peaceful and to avert loss of life. Elections are about really ensuring that the free will of the people is heard and felt, and so we don't have to kill each other to be able to achieve that. And I'm confident that South Africa will continue being the example that it has been in the continent, and that these local elections will further consolidate the democracy of South Africa.
Dr. Akombe, perhaps let me squeeze this last question in. I heard you speaking about, some lessons from other countries, particularly as it relates to COVID-19. So perhaps give us a few examples of, just how other countries have, managed to hold these elections or the voting process very safely, whilst making sure that they exercise their democratic right, but also ensuring their health and safety at the same time.
The safety of voters, in the COVID environment has been one of the biggest priorities of the United Nations Development Programme. We worked very closely as a UN entities to develop actually guidelines that would help countries to do this. And we've been supporting countries across Africa and beyond Africa to be able to use some of these guidelines. And so far, frankly speaking, what we have seen is that while we feared that there would be surges or increases in COVID in contexts where we've had elections, we have seen, whether you're looking at Zambia, you're looking at Tanzania, you're looking at Burundi, you're looking at Niger, that those measures have been put in place, that largely election management bodies, election stakeholders have used the guidelines that we have provided, have used the support that we have provided to ensure that those elections, do not lead to people dying from COVID-19. I mean, it's about ensuring that these sanitizers around the polling stations, is ensuring that people wear masks when they come to the polling stations, is ensuring first the safety also and the health provisions that are set up by your country, South Africa, are obeyed at every polling station. So they're generally what we would say from the experience that we've had from UNDP in the last few months, since we had, almost a year now, is that we've not seen a surge in COVID cases in countries that have had elections, because largely those elections have used the public health provisions and guidelines that have been set out, including the guidelines that UNDP has put in place.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Akombe, this afternoon. We really do appreciate it.
My pleasure too. Thank you so much.